The night was supposed to be one of celebration, a glittering evening where Hollywood's brightest stars gathered to honor their craft. The cameras were rolling, the audience was laughing, and millions of viewers were watching around the world. Then, in a split second, everything changed. A man once revered as a symbol of charm, talent, and grace did something so shocking, so raw, that it sent ripples of disbelief through every corner of the industry. That man was Will Smith. What appeared to be a moment of spontaneous rage turned out to be the breaking point of years of humiliation, secrecy, and bottled anger. What no one knew that night was that this slap would expose not just the truth about Will Smith, but the darkness hiding within Hollywood itself. Will Smith was the golden boy of Hollywood, the fresh prince who had grown into a global superstar. For decades, he had cultivated an image of perfection, the devoted family man, the blockbuster king, the man who could do no wrong. But beneath the surface, cracks had been forming. Years of personal struggles and public humiliation were quietly piling up, hidden from the smiling red carpet appearances and charismatic interviews. That night at the Oscars, those cracks split wide open. The slap wasn't just an act of anger. It was a symbol of a man finally losing control, with the whole world watching. The very legacy that took him 30 years to build was shattered in 30 seconds. Hollywood, the audience, and millions at home were left stunned, wondering how someone so loved could descend so quickly into chaos. The world tried to make sense of what had happened. Comedian Rob Schneider stepped forward with a bold claim. He said that Will Smith had been hiding his true self for years, playing a role for the cameras while concealing a darker reality. Schneider revealed that when the slap happened, he immediately recognized it as the moment Smith's mask finally slipped. He described Hollywood's reaction as cowardly, explaining that if anyone else had done what Smith did, physically assaulting someone on live television, they would have been arrested on the spot. But because of politics, fear of backlash, and the Academy's obsession with appearances, nothing was done. Schneider's words painted a damning picture of an industry that protects its stars at all costs, even when they commit acts of violence in front of millions. The chaos began with a single joke. Chris Rock, a comedian known for his sharp wit, playfully compared Jada Pinkett Smith's shaved head to the character G. Jane. It was a mild jab, the kind of joke common at awards shows. The audience laughed, and even Will Smith himself was seen smiling at first. Then, as the camera turned away, something shifted. Within seconds, Smith rose from his seat, stormed onto the stage, and delivered a thunderous slap across Rock's face. Gasps echoed through the theater. Rock stood frozen, his cheeks stinging, as Smith turned his back and returned to his seat, shouting, "Keep my wife's name out your mouth!" The room descended into stunned silence. In that moment, the carefully choreographed glamour of Hollywood was stripped away, replaced by raw violence broadcast to the entire world. Chris Rock's reaction became legendary. In the face of public humiliation and physical assault, he didn't retaliate. He didn't yell. He didn't walk off the stage. Instead, he stood there, trembling with a mix of anger and disbelief, but still managed to continue the show. It was a moment of extraordinary restraint. Many have said that Rock's calmness prevented the night from spiraling into a full-blown disaster. Behind the scenes, friends and family later revealed the depth of his pain. He could have pressed charges or sued for millions, but he chose to wait. His silence wasn't weakness, it was strategy. Rock knew that his revenge would come, not through violence, but through his words, delivered on his own terms. That patience would later pay off in a way that no one could have predicted. In the days that followed, Will Smith faced overwhelming backlash. Under pressure from publicists and advisors, he released a carefully scripted apology video. In it, he appeared tearful and contrite, addressing Chris Rock, Rock's family, and the public. He claimed he had been under immense emotional strain and that his behavior was unacceptable. Many initially accepted the apology, but cracks soon appeared. Not long after, Smith released a freestyle rap in which he seemed to mock the entire incident, sending a message that he wasn't truly sorry. This revelation confirmed what many suspected: the apology wasn't genuine. It was damage control, a calculated move to save his career and avoid legal consequences. The public began to see Smith not as a man seeking redemption, but as someone manipulating the narrative for his own benefit. The pain of the slap extended far beyond Chris Rock. In an emotional interview, Rock's mother spoke publicly about the incident, her voice trembling as she described her anguish. "When Will slapped Chris, he slapped all of us," she said. But most of all, he slapped me. Her words revealed the deep personal toll of the attack. It wasn't just a moment of violence. It was an attack on her family, a humiliation broadcast to millions. Her statement struck a chord with the public, reminding everyone that behind the headlines and viral clips were real people whose lives had been deeply affected. For many, this moment solidified Smith's actions as not just unprofessional, but profoundly cruel. It became clear that the damage he caused went far beyond the Oscar stage. Long before the slap, Will Smith's private life had already become public spectacle. In a now infamous episode of Red Table Talk, Jada Pinkett Smith openly admitted to having an entanglement, a romantic relationship with her son's best friend. The conversation played out in front of millions as Will sat beside her, visibly pained, forced to listen as his wife discussed her infidelity. Many viewers saw this as deeply emasculating, a moment of profound personal humiliation. Over time, the couple's marriage became a running joke in the media, with Will often painted as weak and submissive. This constant ridicule likely fueled the anger and resentment that erupted during the Oscars. The slap wasn't just about a joke, it was the culmination of years of bottled-up rage and public embarrassment. Chris Rock stayed silent for months, letting the world speculate about his feelings. Then, in a brilliant move, he struck back not with violence, but with comedy. Netflix paid him $40 million for a stand-up special where he finally told his side of the story. On stage, Rock let loose, ridiculing Will Smith and exposing the dysfunction in his marriage for millions to see. His jokes were sharp and unrelenting. He reminded the audience that while everyone has been cheated on, no one else had been humiliated on live television by the very person who betrayed them. By turning his pain into laughter, Rock reclaimed his power. This performance wasn't just entertainment, it was justice, and it cut deeper than any physical retaliation ever could. As the dust settled, many began to question Hollywood's role in the incident. When Will Smith won the Best Actor Oscar later that night, the audience gave him a standing ovation. To outsiders, this was shocking. A man who had just committed violence was being celebrated minutes later. Jim Carrey spoke out, calling the ovation disgusting and a clear sign that Hollywood had lost its moral compass. His words resonated deeply with the public, who saw the industry as complicit in protecting its stars at the expense of truth and justice. By failing to act decisively in the moment, the Academy sent a dangerous message that fame and power can shield even the most blatant wrongdoing. This revelation shook the public's trust in Hollywood like never before. In the end, the Oscars slap was more than just a shocking moment of live television. It was the result of years of unresolved anger, personal betrayal, and public scrutiny. Will Smith's 30-second outburst didn't just hurt Chris Rock, it destroyed his own legacy. What was once a career defined by laughter, inspiration, and success is now forever tainted by violence and disgrace. For Chris Rock, it was a painful moment, but one he transformed into triumph through resilience and creativity. The slap serves as a haunting reminder of how quickly everything can unravel, how decades of respect can be erased in half a minute of rage. And while Hollywood may try to move on, the world will never forget the night its brightest star revealed his darkest self.